Agenda, meeting of the Scituate Board of Health, Wednesday, August 2nd, at the new Scituate Library, Community Room, at 6 p.m. I'll take a motion to open the meeting and accept the agenda.
Make a motion to call the meeting, to open the meeting and accept the agenda, 6 p.m., Wednesday, August 2nd, 2017.
Schedule items, discuss.
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So, meeting's open. Go ahead.
All right, so scheduled items, discuss and vote subdivision Plan 90 and Vinyl Road, Curtis Estates, Paul Maribio
Mary Vito.
and Ross Engineer, from Ross Engineering. So if you want to come up,
With the plan, please.
please.
I'm Paul Marabito.
Okay,
How we
Paul.
doing?
The reason we're here is we followed this plan with the planning board under the zoning bylaw, but also under the subdivision control law. And in the subdivision control law, there's a provision that any time we file a subdivision with the planning board, we're required to file the same plan with the Board of Health. And you have to send the comments on to the planning board accordingly. And what I've done is to color up, this system has been designed, or will be, I mean, there's 16 houses proposed.
Yep.
We're gonna go to sheet 9.
16 lots, right?
There's
Yeah.
16 lots, and they will be serviced by a, we call it shared septic system, which we hope to file tomorrow with you. This is the end vinyl road.
Yep.
This is the proposed road. There's a cul-de-sac here and a smaller one here. Each house would have its own septic tank and go into a sewer line in the street and down to a pump chamber where it'll pressure dose the entire leaching area. We do plan to put in the reserve area at the same time. The reason for that, under a shared system, you have to come up with a financial arrangement where usually after 18 years there'd be enough money in the kitty to replace the system that had to be replaced. So it's the shared systems we've done in the past, they would not put in a reserve area, and they end up having to front load the kitty by quite a bit. Here it'd be easier to put the reserve system in, makes the lots more sellable, I think, because these people don't have to put the money up front. There is an operation and maintenance plan that goes with it. The way we set it up is each homeowner would be responsible for the care and maintenance of the individual
All
septic
the homes
tank.
going to be the same size, same bedrooms? They all-
Pardon? Yes.
That's the plan?
They're all 4-bedroom systems, yeah. We actually did perks on the lots under the standard subdivision plan, and we got them all done, then we realized this was a much better solution because we could save some of the trees. The perk rates were pretty high in some areas. This is a much better situation.
What's the grade going from here to here?
Pardon?
Is there
The
any
grade.
grade going from here to here?
Yeah, there's a grade. The land doesn't slope that much.
Doesn't slope that much?
This is the street. It's about elevation 36 here, and I think
And
it's
then over here
27
it's
down by the street. 25
27
here.
and then about 32, 31 out of the field.
Yeah, this is the field area where the driveway is.
Yeah.
This is where the system's going in here. There's some wetlands here, from here over,
Yeah.
which have been approved by the
Yeah,
conservation
wetlands on
commission.
us, so that's fine.
These are the lots. This is open space around it.
So they're all a third of an acre, a little bit more, some of them a little bit less. All of them.
Pardon?
They're all a third of an acre, couple, one smaller one, couple bigger ones.
Yeah, roughly a quarter
Big
acre.
one, big one, big one,
Yeah. They have to be at least 20,000 square feet.
yeah. You're right.
I'm sorry, I take
You
it back.
see.
They don't, if they're a regular lot, they have to be 20,000 square feet, but under the flexible open space, it can be whatever you need to build a house.
Where's the other one?
16.
So, Jen, I know you had a concern that you thought 16 was too many and that 15 would be the appropriate number. So, explain to us why you think that is,
All right, sorry.
and is that going, would that involve them rearranging absolutely everything?
No, so I conducted a review, I did a couple of things. I looked at the existing plan and identified several items that I would recommend to you, the board, would be required as conditions for approval. First being that if any of the existing structure are to be demolished, pest and asbestos reports be provided to us for review before sign off on the building permit. I know the structure is proposed to be
Well,
used.
because it's a historic building, the existing house, we've been to the Historic Commission, and what they want us to do is to take that building, and we show it on one of us. This house is gonna be moved onto the proposed lot here. This is the old kitchen, which sits on the ground. That's, the floor's really no good. This is gonna come off, but this house, which went like this house is gonna be moved over about 40 feet. It'll become part of the proposed house on this lot here, and it's gonna be renovated. It's gonna end up on this lot here.
So on lot 12,
It's gonna be on this lot here.
lot 16?
Yeah.
And where is it kind of located now?
Right here, it's happening.
So it'd be right in the middle of the road
It's
right
in the
now?
middle of the road, though. You can see it on the profiles. We don't show it, it's sitting right in here. It is in the roadway layout, it's about halfway into it, so we have to move it. The Historic Commission said that it could stay on-site or move off-site, but it couldn't be demolished.
And your concern is what, Jen?
Oh, I was just saying that, if, I know that you were very clear in your description that it would become part of another, part of a proposed home. However, I believe there is another structure there. So I just wanted to capture that if ultimately any of the structures are demoed, that pest and asbestos inspection reports come to us just like any other demo project, in order to sign off on that building permit, which in that case would be a demo permit. I wouldn't anticipate it, but if for whatever reason something were to be demoed, we would want the pest and asbestos inspection reports. The other things that I noted from the existing condition is that there are existing cesspools and system components that you identified. Those would have to be abandoned in
They will
accordance
be,
with
yeah.
Title V. And then the existing private well, assuming that it's not to be used by one of the lots, that it would also need to be abandoned in accordance with the private well regulation that was adopted in
That'll
June.
probably be filled in because it's too close to the road.
Oh, no, not probably, it has to be.
Pardon?
Yeah.
Right.
Have to be.
Oh, no, not probably.
So it has to be properly abandoned in accordance with the
Yeah.
town's private well regulation. So that's,
I'm still curious as to why you want to take away a house. I'm just,
so I'm kind of going through the process of the path in which I reviewed.
Yeah.
So I reviewed the existing condition, noted those conditions that I would
you
recommend.
went to the property, you went to the area? Or you
No, I reviewed the plans that were provided.
I'm just asking.
Yep. So then, the objective of the subdivision review by the Board of Health is to review, and Paul can correct me, but it is to review whether homes could be built, or the certain number of homes could be built under the conventional layout. So we review the conventional layout as the next step. So as part of the conventional layout, I took the conventional density sketch plan that was provided. I'll kind of overlay that if you don't mind. And took a copy of the test pit location plan / proposed subdivision plan, also provided in the packet submitted to the Board of Health. And looked for test holes and perk tests to meet both state and local requirements. And what that is 4 test holes, 3 perk tests per lot, and those perk tests have to be 60 minutes an inch or less in order to pass for new construction. So looking at the plan provided, conventional lot number 16 had only 2 test holes and no perks conducted. The other 15 lots had 4 or more test holes and 3 or more perk tests with rates of less than 60 minutes an
So
inch.
results alone?
Yes, I sat with this book and our perk witness logs and put all of those times and also put depth to water, just as an added
The water
information measure for water table. So based on this combined information plus the plan, 2 perk holes, 2 test holes, no perks for this lot. All the other 15 lots met the requirements. So my suggestion to you, looking at that, is that you could currently approve, using the conventional density plan, you could currently approve a 15-lot subdivision. They could conduct additional test holes and perk tests to
lot
meet,
16.
to meet. So this is not the final lot 16, this is the conventional lot 16. Feel free to jump in. Okay. And then,
Then resubmit everything?
and then provide that data for your approval of the final lot. Now, that's not, so Paul was showing you.
But I don't understand why, if the fields and the perk, everything's not gonna be on the specific lots, and it's going to one master leaching field, why, I don't understand why you
Can I
feel that way.
explain what,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go
what
ahead.
happened? We did all these lots. This was the last one we went to.
Yeah,
When we realized what it was gonna do with the high perks, some of these perks was, 50, 60 minutes per minute.
yeah, way too long.
And the groundwaters were high. We're gonna end up with big mounds, a lot of fill in the roadway,
Yeah.
a lot more trees would come up.
I totally get why you did it.
So, this was the last lot we did. When we got here, I said, you know what, there's no sense of going any further. We're gonna come back here and put the shared system, okay?
Right.
I believe the regs say that if you're gonna do a subdivision or a flexible open space, the number of lots would be equal to, the number of lots you would give a conventional
Right.
density plan. And what, I believe it says that you have to have at least, under the subdivision rules and regs, it says you need at least 1 perk for each lot, not on each lot. And the reason they do that is if you're gonna come in with a subdivision, you wanna make sure that if you're gonna build a road for 16 lots, you wanna make sure that, we wanna make sure, and the town wants to make sure that you have suitable soils to on-site septic systems, okay? In this case here, we do have at least 1 perk for each lot, okay? It doesn't have to be on each lot, but 1 perk for each lot. These 15 lots had a total of 45 to 50 perks probably. When we do the shared septic system, under Title V, you only need, I think, 3 or 4. We have much more than that, because it's in this area.
Is
Our
that true, Jen?
our local regulations for new construction require 4 test holes and 3 perk tests.
Right, but what I'm saying is that under the subdivision rules and regulations, okay, when you do a subdivision, you're supposed to show at least 1 perk for each lot. Then when we file a subdivision, you have to review the plan. Typically, what you say, in a nutshell, is that each lot would have to be serviced by an on-site septic system because there's no town sewer out there.
Here's the Board of Health section of the Town of Scituate subdivision rules and regulations. If you'd
Yep.
like to try to point out the location that it specifically says 1.
I want to see the master plan again, the one that we were
9.
looking at. Jen, the setbacks are all good?
So we're not reviewing the actual location or
Okay.
potential design of the system itself, just the number of lots that can be supported. That will come when Paul files the design plan.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little confused then, so how can you
vote on the amount of lots based on four-bedroom houses, and then not know the capacity if it can withstand the size of each building, and so on and so forth. That has to be, I understand there's horse before the cart, but
That's right. And the Massachusetts general law, as well as subdivision rules and regulations, make it clear that approval of a definitive plan for a subdivision by a Board of Health or officer shall not be treated as, nor deemed to be, an application for a permit to construct or use individual sewage system on any lot contained therein.
but what is perking that last lot going to do?
So, under the conventional layout, could each lot support a septic
Well,
system?
we already saw that some of them failed, right?
No. Nope,
The
all
ones
of
that were
the,
100 minutes weren't failing? And the
So
water
if you-
table wasn't too high?
where's the?
Oh, that's the one that's wrong, sorry. The one you did all that nice work with.
So if you look at the numbers,
Yeah,
you will see.
some of them were really high.
Right, so you'll see on this lot, for example, these 4 failed, this one failed, but there were 5 holes
Okay, so.
that had less than 60 minutes an inch. So they had the required number of holes, more than enough,
Yeah,
on all of the lots, except the one,
that we don't know.
and had enough perks. Like, for example, this conventional lot.
So what's the rules for a subdivision? It has to be at least.
What it's saying is
4
see-
holes and 3 parts,
Our local regulation, our local Board of Health regulations for septics require for new construction 4 test holes and 3 perk tests per lot. So it's my interpretation, and that's, this is for you to decide, it's my interpretation that under the conventional layout,
They
that
didn't do it.
single
I
lot
guess-
doesn't meet
Lot
that.
16
I
did.
get it.
But, it's obviously up for you to
I-
decide whether to,
I get it.
how to approve
I
it.
know what the missing number would do.
What's that?
I know what the missing number would do. Did you have any from him?
No.
Okay.
So, go ahead, Bob.
Let me point out a couple other things. This section of the subdivision law says that you have to show that a building could be put on this lot without injury to public health. It shall specify the reasons therefore, okay? One of the options they would have, if they wanted to build on this lot, let's assume you didn't have any perk test here, okay? You could still build on this lot as long as you had a septic system. The way we would do that is, if you sell the houses as condominiums, when you have a condominium, all that is a form of sale. The Doctors Hill project, when we did that originally, we had 16 two-family lots, and we were gonna have septic systems for 3 or 4 of the lots on a common leaching area. This is before shared septic systems came
Yeah.
in. And some of those homes are gonna be sold as condominiums. Under the state regs, you can, if you have a condominium association, you can have a common leaching area.
Right. But
So-
I'm not worried about that right now.
No, but what I'm saying, I'm just saying why I don't think, we don't need to do perks on this lot. If we wanted to make this system larger and sell these 2 homes as a condominium, the septic system for this house and this house could be in that common leaching area.
Yeah, I understand. I get that.
And again, the reason we stopped here was, when we got down to here, it was obvious that we should go back over here, and we did go back and do additional test bits. It did make sense, because we started to do some grading for the septic systems in the roadway, and the ground was coming way up, the costs were out of sight, and it was better to do this. I mean, there's a lot of advantages to a shared septic system. Mainly, it's gotta be inspected every year. It's maintained, people pay into it. The big plus, in my opinion, is that when they go to sell a house, they aren't looking at putting out $30,000 or $40,000 to pay for a septic system.
Right, and you probably know we get to this. Right.
Well, we put the school on sewer about 15 years ago. So in my opinion, I would say the 16 lots is okay based upon what I just explained.
Well, I know what you want.
I know, yeah, of course you-
And I'll be honest,
Well, the reason why I have to have this meeting, this special meeting tonight is because it does have to go back before the planning board or the zoning board next week, Jen?
No, the planning board.
Yeah, it's, I have to provide your, approval, disapproval, conditions, or recommendations to the planning board.
Right.
On Friday.
Right.
And I'm just looking for lot 16.
So you guys did all 15, you got to the last one, and you finally said,
Well, we stopped because it was obvious, because I had someone else in the office laying out the road, I was working with them, and we're going from the groundwater and coming up, sizing them for 4 bedrooms. We're getting retaining walls, we get into 5-6 foot mounds, and the road was gonna have to come up, it just wasn't gonna look good. I mean, we could do it physically, but it didn't make sense, so we stopped after this one here.
right.
So when you were on the last one,
Yeah.
lot 16.
And we just decided to go to this.
TBD.
I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer. But bottom line is every lot has to be serviced by a septic system.
Right.
And the soils down here are pretty consistent. And you can see from the soil logs, the perks did jump around, but they all pass.
Right. What are you looking for, Jen?
I'm looking for the test hole logs for,
16.
for D.
How long
Yeah,
ago,
they're-
how long ago were they done?
I think we did them last year.
2016.
How long ago?
Like September, July, September. I think it's D1 and D2. If I'm not mistaken.
Oh, here they are.
You found them?
That's D3 and 4. And 4 should be in there. So D1 and 2. Here's D3 and 4. The soils are similar. They're
So,
pretty
so
consistent.
those two were done in October of 16. That's what I was looking for. You had asked when they were done. They were done in October of
These two?
16. Those two, yeah.
Wow.
And the effort started, I believe it started between July and November.
This has to be voted on tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
And if I may, you can obviously, make your decision on the 15 or the 16 lots. But I would recommend, regardless of that decision, that you attach several conditions of your approval. Approval being that installation of a septic system, in this case the proposed shared system, meet all the requirements of 310 CMR 15, Title 5.
Well, why wouldn't that when you receive the plans for it anyway?
So in past subdivision review, that has been a condition of all subdivisions, so that it's clear,
That's not a given though?
it's not a given.
Why?
Because you're approving a subdivision based on an assumption that a system can go in. We don't have the system, we don't have the design.
Right.
So your approval is based on the fact that they can put in a system.
Right, right.
So you're conditioning your approval based on the fact that they can
Why I
put in a
don't-
system.
That's why I don't like
It's subject to,
it. I understand that,
it's just subject to.
yeah.
As well as the local Board of Health rules and regulations. I would also recommend that the system have both audio and visual alarms in close proximity to and visible from the street, so that any of the residents,
Do that when you make the motion. Yeah, no?
go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah.
I just want to.
There's another copy in the packet that you have.
Oh, yeah.
So from memory, Paul, the ones that I can recall from memory, is that the basins have written mosquito control plan, and permanent access to the
The
basins.
stormwater basins, yeah, they have an operation and maintenance schedule for those as well, under the BMPs, in the stormwater bylaw.
Yeah, and I did see as part of your packet that there is an easement plan. But again, it's, you know,
Making
you're.
sure everything
Right, but
is-
you're looking at a plan now and, you know, ground conditions, life conditions can change
Change
things.
things.
So these are general recommendations, you know, the alarms, so that, you know, the alarm isn't housed in some house that only one person can hear and they're in Florida for 6 months.
Right.
So that the other 16, you know, the other 15 or 16 homeowners can take action with their homeowners association and make sure that, you know, the system is dealt with.
So, in your opinion, Jim, let me go back to the last lot that did not get tested. If we go ahead and not approve for the 16 lots, and we would go ahead and make them test that, it comes back, it perks fine, or it doesn't perk fine. Give me the scenario if it perks fine. Same as we're back.
Then you approve the 16th lot.
Right.
So we would approve 15. This comes back, then that would approve to have a 16 lot.
Right,
not 15.
right. So you have the option before you of approving the 16 lots based on the information that Paul provided. Or you have the option of approving a 15 lot subdivision, requesting additional information, and when you get that additional
Let me ask you a
information, you
question.
can approve the 15
Let me ask you a
lot.
question though, but all these subject twos, one way, either way, if we approve or disapprove the last lot, all these are gonna go into play anyway.
That's my
Right,
right, that's my
right,
recommendation.
right.
And Paul hasn't been privy to those,
Oh,
so
I'm
I'd
sorry.
like him to be able to.
Yeah. Is there another copy? Is there another copy of that?
Yeah, it's in your
Oh.
packet.
Sorry.
Should be the second to last thing in your packet when I put it together.
You know, I don't know how you're gonna vote, but, we obviously laid everything out in the final plans, the flexible open space for the 16 lots. If we, you know, we could go back and perk those, but the soil logs you have show that these soils are very consistent out here. I mean, you know, if we have to go back, we go back, but I don't think there's a need to do that for a couple of reasons. Number one, the test pits you have show that these soils are consistent in here, number one. And number two, let's assume this didn't perk. What I do is come back and show a design for a system in here that could handle two lots and sell these as condominiums. We have done that before.
And in terms of the consistency or lack thereof, if you're just looking at this corner here, I'm seeing 9 minutes an inch up to greater than
Yep.
60 minutes an inch.
But
I'm
what
not sure I
thinking
would
is
say that's
We'd come down in
consistent.
here somewhere and lay that out.
But Jen, again, I guess I'm just a little naive and a little confused here. Irregardless, or regardless of this lot passing or not passing, ultimately, it's going to be a master leaching field, which everything is gonna go to that. Where it is, the soil does seem to be okay here, correct?
It's
For now.
variable, but
For
yes,
now.
that seems to be the
For now.
best area, yes.
So, aside from not meeting the criteria of the 310, whatever it is, CMR, what would we gain from having to have them go and perk that and do what we want them to do?
Well,
I'm
that's,
just ki- I'm-
so that's the decision that you have to make.
I understand that, I'm asking the pros and cons, I'm asking,
And I'm saying to meet the local regulation for
Right.
new construction, that's what was required.
Right.
If you choose, you know, if you feel that the overall plan and the overall layout and the overall number of perks
well, who
and then.
knows, this is just in the pre-stages, because now it's got more
I-
red tape, and then you're gonna get the final plan for
I
the
don't,
septic system.
I don't believe so. I think I heard Paul say that he's prepared to provide the septic plan to me tomorrow.
Yeah, we
So I
are.
don't believe it's really in a preliminary
Oh,
phase,
right.
Did
right?
not- oh.
Right.
Right. No, the other thing I'd point out is what this says is, you know, normally the comments that come back from you in subdivisions is that each lot has to have its own septic system, otherwise it's not a buildable lot. And typically, most subdivisions would have individual systems on their lots. Paul, we've been doing shared systems in some of the bigger subdivisions for a lot of reasons.
Bigger than what, than 16?
Well,
How big?
but that's what the comments would normally say, that if you're gonna build, each lot has to have its own septic system, so it
That's
doesn't.
my point.
So you could have a building site without injury to the public health, et cetera, et cetera. In the proposed condition, you've got a shared system, which is probably, in my opinion, it's much better than.
How many shared systems do we have in town right now?
We have one off of Summer Street, we have one off of 3A. We have one large one in the West End. You would probably know even more than I do.
We have one we did the very first one in the state, that was for Laurelwood. That was in Scituate and Norwell, there were 24 lots. That's on a shared system.
My suspicion is we probably have half a dozen-ish.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
if, I've been involved in 3 or 4,
Yeah.
2 of which have had trouble.
Okay, well, I know we're not at that point yet, but just what kind of trouble?
So Paul and I had an initial conversation about each lot having its own tank versus having one tank and one field. And my preference, which is what they appear to be proposing both here and I assume on the plan to be submitted as soon as tomorrow maybe.
Timers?
Wow.
Just lost your power.
Hold on 1 second.
Do they have a generator?
The power's outside.
Count to 10, there it
No,
goes.
it's motion. Oh, that tax dollars at work there, there you go.
What's a timer?
That's what we all, that's what we all voted for.
Energy savings.
You got what you paid for?
That's what
Energy
we all
savings.
voted for.
I completely lost my train of thought with,
Oh,
with the single
problems
tanks.
with the,
So when Paul and I had discussed the possibilities of one tank for all the homes versus one tank per home, it was my preference that each tank, or each home has its own tank. That way, if you have one homeowner or 2 homeowners that don't necessarily understand how to treat a system, what not to flush, what to flush, and if you have a problem, you can more easily isolate the problem, not have 16 homes, assuming it's 16 homes, not having 16 homes with problems, but have one home that you can isolate and work on.
Right.
And I'm very happy to see that
What
that's the
we did on
proposal.
these tanks was, we put a filter on the inlet and the outlet. So if the first one doesn't pick something up, the second one will. Those have to be cleaned once a year. And if there's a problem with the tank, then the individual homeowner would take care of it. Because some homeowners are very careful with what they put down the drains and others aren't, so. We've been doing these for 45 years. We've never had a system fail that we've designed.
well, you better knock on wood.
Knock on wood. Well, I'll tell you, you wouldn't want it, it's your worst nightmare.
I'm
Come
sure
back
it
in.
is. Like,
And we're the ones that get the first call.
And the engineers are the engineers, assuming they have insurance, those are the ones that take the hit. You know, both legal and financially, so. Our designs have always been conservative in the way we do things, for a lot of reasons, but it's just. the way
well, we're
we
not here for the
design.
design, that's tomorrow either, maybe or maybe not. So we're not here for the design of the system and the capacity of the system. We're just here to vote on seeing if we want you to perk that last lot or not. Well, I'll make the motion. And then we'll vote on it. All right, so. Jen, you only have a disapprove or approve, or just one?
So the second motion, the alternative motion is that you approve a 16-lot subdivision, and then you can attach or not attach any of the conditions that I recommended, both under the existing requirements, the well, the cesspools, and the, future operation and maintenance, making the assumption of the shared system. So the second motion is approve a 16-lot subdivision as requested, with or without any of those conditions.
So the mosquito control plan, how is that contingent on
So you're approving the subdivision.
Right, I'm just.
And one piece of that is the septic system.
Right.
And the other piece, which has been historically reviewed by the Board of Health, is these drainage basins. So
Right.
drainage basins fill up with water, they can become
Standing water,
stagnant
yeah,
and
I get it.
breeders for mosquitoes. So that has been, from what I can tell, historically something that the Board of Health has reviewed as part of subdivision plan review. So the idea being that there's a written maintenance contract set up, assuming there's a homeowners association, the contract being set up by the representatives for the homeowners, and that there be permanent access, so that you don't, 10 years down the line, have somebody who owns a house saying, sorry, you can't go through my backyard, to do the
No,
maintenance.
those,
So,
that wouldn't be a problem, because the basins are in the open space area, which they have to be accessed for routine maintenance.
You saw these
anyway.
requirements, I showed you this piece of paper, correct?
and the thing that made me, note that is, if you can show the flexible open space, yeah, so the basins are here,
Behind the back corner.
right behind, behind these
7, 8,
homes.
9.
Right, and I believe there's, on the easement plan, it shows, right, so it shows an easement going
There's a
here.
basin easement here. There's the basin in here. Some of these basins are wooded, to keep the trees in here. And there's one over here.
So they got 1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And this
And the
one,
rest of
in
it's all-
particular, without an easement, this one would be the one that would be difficult to get to, because you have, somebody's really nice backyard here, somebody at the end of the cul-de-sac who doesn't necessarily want to be disturbed, so having that required easement
Yeah.
just affords for long-term access.
This is the easement here.
Right, right.
Okay.
And there's two basins proposed in this parcel.
And these are off the thing, so it's easy to take.
There's one
Yeah.
here that goes this way to here and then up.
I'm gonna read it as it is, I'm gonna
Okay.
read it as it is, and then we'll vote on it. All right.
Okay.
So I'm gonna make the motion as you wrote it, Jen.
And you can either choose, or you can choose to approve that or disapprove the motion I've written, and then you can create,
Right, and what do you
vote
think
on an
about
alternative.
The addendums that she wants to add to that. I'm assuming a few of those things are standard regulation, requirements anyway.
I don't have it in front of me anymore, but I don't believe they're standard requirements. Audio and visual alarms, close proximity to and visible from the street, that's not necessarily a standard requirement. It would be ideal, but it's not written anywhere that has to be required. This, each home having a separate tank, that's not a requirement under Title V. He could, Paul could go back and say, I like the one big, large tank, and that's how I'm gonna do it, and he would be able to do that. Operation and maintenance plan requirement, there are some built-in things to Title V, that talk about those
There is.
O&M plans for shared systems. So if you include, installation of the system must meet all requirements of 310 CMR 15, that one would be covered automatically. The deed restriction, recording the number of bedrooms, which is what was done at the 2 that I've worked on to date. That's,
Title V as well.
yep. The written mosquito control plan is not.
Right.
And then the no structures or plantings on the leaching field other than those required for the proposed system, that is not written anywhere, and people often do like to put trees on their leaching fields, I have come to find out.
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea.
So, not a good idea.
We don't allow that.
Probably
You
not-
wouldn't allow it, but somebody, down the
probably not a-
road,
Probably not a
The
good
trees
idea.
grow, the trees would grow very well.
Yeah.
yes, they would. They would be the happiest trees in town.
the motion as it's written. And we'll see if Jen talks to us somewhere.
It's fine. You have to vote how you feel.
All right,
You
so
do.
make a motion to disapprove the proposed 16-lot subdivision plan as provided, but approve a 15-lot subdivision based on the current data provided. Additional data could be collected at lot 16, blah, 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 of conventional density sketch plan and requirements of 310 CMR 15, the state reg code, Title 5, and Town of Scituate Board, and so on and so forth. The Board of Health, upon receipt of digital data, could then reevaluate approval of the lot. Either way, approving or disapproving, I'm going to add these. With the installation of septic system serving the dwellings must meet all requirements of 310 CMR 15, the State Environmental Code, Title 5, including but not limited to 310-29 through 15-292, and the Town of Scituate BOH supplementary rules. The system must have an A audio and visual alarm that must be in close proximity to and visible from the street. That is something that I think is a good idea, but is probably going to be a little bit work in progress to figure out to make people happy and not annoy people and so on and so forth. If a shared system is to be installed as proposed, then each dwelling will need a separate septic tank on its parcel leading to proposed shared leaching field. I think you already said that you were going to have
The reserve system put in at
Right.
the same time. Yes.
Right. An operation and maintenance plan will be required, which I would assume will happen anyway. Each dwelling will need to have a deed restriction recorded with the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds, identifying and limiting the number of bedrooms. In this case, 4, I believe. This number should be consistent among the dwellings, and the definition of bedroom determined on bedrooms as defined in definition 310.002. A written mosquito control plan is required for the basins. This should be filed with the BOH and must include vision for permanent access to the basins, which I believe there are 5 of them, 5 parcels. And no structures or plantings may be installed in the leaching field parcel other than those required for the proposed septic system. Now, before we vote, Dougie, make sure you remember I made the motion to disapprove. So, I'm making that motion, and all those in favor? There you have it. So, I did not, he approved it, I did not.
So you voted no?
I voted no, yeah.
Okay.
I voted no. He
Okay.
approved it. In this case, what happens if there's only 2 of us?
So then that motion does not get approved.
Right.
So one approves, one disapproves, it does not get approved.
Right.
And therefore, you can make a second motion.
Okay.
Question?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know these conditions you just read?
Yes, 7 of them, yeah.
Were those part of the first vote? I mean, I don't have a problem with those. The
Well, I
other
would
thing
assume you
that-
would do most of them.
Yeah, I mean, the audio alarm is something we put in anyway, because you have to know if there's a problem with those pumps.
I know, it's a AV alarm, it's just like I said, you know,
Yeah,
you don't want it next to this person's house, right?
No.
This lot right here that has, you know, a screaming light,
It's probably gonna go down in this area somewhere next to the road.
right,
So they can see the light and they hear it. I mean, the light would flash.
right,
And it's gonna be for the pump chamber primarily, because everything else is gravity.
right.
And mosquito control, that's additional, if you want us to do it, we can do that.
Right.
I mean, we don't have a problem with those conditions. With the shared system.
So then you make a separate motion.
A separate motion to approve all the conditions.
So you would have to make a second motion. I'm making the assumption here that your motion is going to say, I make a motion to approve a 16-lot subdivision with the following conditions.
Correct.
So that's the motion that you would need to make.
Correct. So now I make a motion to make a motion to approve the 16-lot subdivision with the 7 criteria that I have stated, all of which you can have a list, and this is Jen's list as it is. And all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
There you go.
Okay? So you
Could
have
you
your
include
16.
there a shared system design?
What's that?
Does this include a shared system design in those conditions?
It is. If a shared system is
It
to be
is?
installed
Oh,
as
okay.
proposed,
All right.
each dwelling would need it, yes, absolutely, yes.
No, that's fine.
Yes, I'm envisioning that Jen knew forthcoming what would end up happening anyway, so that's why
Yeah,
she
the
put that in
plans,
there.
the plans clearly showed a shared system.
Right, so
So
you
yes.
You need these
Yeah,
to
so,
put in for,
So what will happen is, I will send the planning board, Welby Builders, and yourself, a letter indicating that this date and this time, Board of Health approved a 16-lot subdivision, with the following conditions.
Subject to.
Yep, so I can email it to you and send it to you by mail, so you have it both ways. And then, I'll attach the conditions that they agreed to. So congratulations.
Yep.
Glad
The work
this is
begins.
over.
The work begins.
You need those. This is yours?
You have a plan ready to go already?
Thank you.
I just gotta get the paperwork with it.
Well, you'll have to come in tomorrow for that. We can't take that after hours.
No, I was working on the,
I think there was one other, we got a, is there one other,
What's that?
those? You got all yours, right?
I have mine.
Okay.
Yep, I'm good.
All right.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
thank you.
Sounds like we'll see you tomorrow.
Yep, you should be here more often.
I don't like it, I feel like I'm in a prison.
I know. I don't like that noise.
I don't like it.
How do you know what a prison
Oh.
looks
I
like?
like
Yeah, there you
upstairs.
go.
Oh, here we go again.
Yeah, see? Lights out, that's what they're telling us. Time for bed.
Go to BC?
I did not, no.
Did?
I did not.
Did you?
No, we go to the football games. A friend of ours used to play soccer. As a matter of fact, he's in the soccer hall of fame there, but
Oh, wow.
he's got a pass.
I used to go to all the football, I used to go to all the football and basketball games. It just became too much, yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I think it became too much.
Everything becomes too
Yeah,
much.
it's a long haul.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Have a
Thanks,
good
Paul.
night.
Paul, thank you.
All right. New business, none. Old business, none. Other business, administrative approvals,
Invoice.
input. I need my glasses.
More from, anything else to sign?
Just these two.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.